Hey guys, welcome to Influencing Artists. Today is a very special video, for you guys with a very special person. This is my mom. Her name is technically Kris Beattie, but I call her mom, of course. Anyway, so I've been wanting her to teach me some encaustic painting. She got into encaustics, a couple of years ago or something?
After I moved to North Carolina.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she got into encaustic painting. She's done acrylic painting. She makes jewelry, tons of jewelry, and I'll put links in the description below so you can have links to that as well. I'll probably do another video with her jewelry at some other point in time. If you like watching videos about artists, art techniques, and art business, go ahead and click subscribe now so you don't miss any of my future videos. And all right, let's get started.
So encaustic is my favorite thing to do now. I learned about it when I went to Asheville and I saw someone actually doing it in one of the studios.
That's cool.
And I went home and said, I have to learn how to do that. I just have to. And a very nice person, her name is Jude Loeb actually, she gave me some very basic items that I needed to get started, and she was very nice about sharing her knowledge. So it really puts me in a calm state. I feel very relaxed and almost like meditative state when I'm doing it. Just really get in the zone and time just flies, and it's wonderful. This is one of the first pieces that I did to practice, and I actually just took a piece of corrugated and painted right directly onto it. As far as substrates to use for encaustic, you can use anything that is porous. So a piece of wood, they do make special boards that you can buy online for it as well, and this is already got some gesso on it. So you can also buy that to treat your wood if you want to. It just gives it that nice white background instead of painting right directly on the wood. You can do either, as long as it's porous, it's fine. I just like to put it on to have that really clear white background. This is actually a cigar box that I recycled, and my husband actually sanded down the top and to make it so that it would be porous again, because if it has shellac or anything on top of it, you have to first remove that so you can get to the bare wood in order for it to be absorbed. So this is just a recycled cigar box that I sell in a shop in Graham, North Carolina. And I just put a nice little piece of velour in here to make it nice. You can use it for a men's valet box, jewelry box. One of the big things that you're going to need is the medium, the encaustic medium that you can buy online at any of the craft type stores, Dick Blick or any of those. R&F makes a great product as well. So this is beeswax and Damar resin, and this one has a little bit of a yellow color, you can see, but this is what you're going to put down to begin with. As far as other materials, these are encaustic brushes, but you can also just go and get regular chip brushes at your local craft store or even at Home Depot, Lowe's. You're going to need some pigment. So they come in blocks, they come in sticks. You can also use powder pigment, which looks something like this, and that's to color your wax, to make the different layers in the different colors. Other things, encaustic gesso that you can buy.
Okay,
R&F,
it's encaustic gesso.
Encaustic gesso, specifically for encaustic. This is something that I've used on top as a special thing. It's shellac, and you can put it on top and you actually burn it, and it creates a kind of cool effect. That's a whole another day. But you can also use even oil pastels over top of your paintings. If you have some crevices, and you can put the oil pastels in the crevice and then just kind of wipe it off and it stays down in the crevice. There's a lot of different things that you can do and use. I use old men's t-shirts. When you're done, and encaustic takes about 1 to 3 years to actually cure, meaning to harden fully. It will bloom over time. So when you're first done with it, it'll start to kind of get this bloom effect. And what you want to do is take an old men's t-shirt, something very, very soft, and just kind of rub it, and it brings up a nice shine.
So that's the way to clean it.
That's the way to kind of clean it, or to shine it up again when it gets that bloom on it. So a dropper made specifically for using hot encaustic. It's metal, so none of this is going to melt when you're using it. And that's just to pick up the wet paint and to drop it on and make little drops on your painting if you so desire to do that. You can also use scrapers, and you will probably want to use some sort of razor blade. I've been meaning to get one with a handle because it will be a whole lot easier, but when you're done and you're putting the layers on, as you'll see, we'll go and we'll scrape off the top layer, which will show through the colors from the bottom layers. This is an electric skillet, and that's what you're going to heat up your encaustic on.
So you mix the wax and the resin together to create this like liquidy stuff that you paint with.
Right, so I buy mine pre-mixed. Some people make their own. I buy mine, it's the wax and Damar resin together, and it's just easier, and mine comes in little pieces. Sometimes they sell it in blocks as well, but the little pieces are what I like to use. This jar, this is just old wax that I have scraped off that I kind of didn't want to part with. Later on, maybe I can melt it and we'll see what kind of color happens out of it.
Okay. And then what about the beads and stuff?
Well, you can add different texture to encaustic, but you have to be very careful and really embed it in there. I did one painting where I did a nest, a bird's nest, and put some pearls in there. And it will stay in, you just have to make sure that it gets in there good. Many people make different kind of mixed media paintings like that, which is kind of cool. Okay, so first thing we do is take some of the hot wax and we're going to put down a layer.
And this is hot wax without pigment, right?
This is hot wax without pigment.
So it's just like regular hot wax, it's just melted?
Wax with Damar resin, correct. Then we're going to let this dry for a minute.
So how long does the wax take to dry?
Well, when you're working with it, you just want to let it cool down, so it's not real warm. We're going to need to fuse each layer to the layer below it. So that being said, it takes just a few minutes, but you have to be a little bit patient. So this layer was my first one, so I'm just going to see how it's very bumpy here. I want a little bit of a smoother effect. So my first layer here, I'm just going to take my heat gun, which you can find at any Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those stores. It's originally used for taking paint off of houses, but it's just mine is a Porter cable. Okay. And we're just going to turn the heat on. I like to use low. I don't really like to use it on high unless I'm really trying to melt the wax. Just going to move it around a little bit. You can see it, the wax getting shiny. That means that the top is melting a little bit, which is what you want when you're fusing one layer to another. This is my first layer, so I'm just going to kind of get it smoothed out. I'm going to heat it up a little more than I normally would. Okay, so now we're going to let this kind of dry or cool off again. So you want to keep your encaustic medium at 200 degrees and really not much more than that. It will create some toxic fumes that you don't want, and that's a good reason for some good ventilation. Okay, so now we've got this cooled off a little bit, enough so that I can do another layer. So basically you want to put, I would say, 3 layers of the plain wax without any wax and Damar resin, without any pigment in it. So I'm just basically going to put it on again like this. And you'll see that when you even take the brush away from the heat, how fast it will even start to
Yeah, you can see it
to
clump
dry.
in different areas really quickly.
Yeah.
That can be fun to play with though, for like layers and stuff.
It's great, and you'll see later how it will look. But with each and every layer, you have to heat it to fuse it to the layer underneath. If you don't, it's likely to chip off after time. So when you're heating it up, you want to, if you want to kind of leave the texture the way it is, you just want to heat it enough so you can see how it's getting shiny. That means that it's fusing to the layer underneath.
Might be hard to see in the video, but
Yes.
I can see it from here. And
it's sort of like when you look at ice and it's, starting to melt. Yeah. Okay, we've got another layer on, and see how it dripped here. But that's what kind of makes this really cool, is that you can get a lot of texture with it.
all right, so you're actually going to mix some of this paint right now.
Yes, I'm just putting in some plain wax with resin, and then this is a block of white that I'm just going to actually, you can either shave pieces off and drop it in, or you can just do this.
Oh,
And it just will melt
it in
right
there.
into the wax. Just hold it there for, let it melt.
It's like melting butter. So we're putting another color
So
on.
we're just going to now put some wax with some pigment in it. I'm going to just use the color red, and we'll just apply it on here any old way you like. Some people like to do it that way, some people like to do it this way, and just kind of do it into the wax. I'm going to put some different colors in different areas. A little bit about encaustic. It literally means to burn or to fuse in. It dates back to the 5th century BC, where the Greeks first practiced it, believe it or not, when they used wax and coatings of wax and pitch to weatherproof ships. It came back around again where it became popular, I think, in the 18th and the 19th century, when some artists started using it again, I believe. To find out more about the history, you can always go on R&F's website, and they have a great downloadable sheet that you can read, which is really great. So see how I'm heating it a little too much right in this area, and how it's moving. Sometimes you want that to happen. If you heat it too much, it'll actually melt the layer below.
Okay, so it's melting the colors
It's
into
melting
each other.
the colors below. So this,
So you don't necessarily want to do that, but if you want to do it for effect, you can.
right. With the jewelry boxes, I often do that so that I can make it smooth on the top. And I call them happy accidents, because the wax is just going to do what it wants. And you think you're going to do one thing with it, you have something in your mind, and it's going to do the opposite. So basically, you just have to run with that and just call them happy accidents. So see how cool that looks right there.
Yeah.
Like when you do melt it into the layer below.
I get it.
You don't always want to do that, right? But many encaustic artists don't. They just like to layer and scrape and do that. And that's just another, it's just a preference, or what you're looking for in your painting.
Right. And it doesn't have to be abstract. You can do like realistic looking paintings too, right?
Yeah, you can. I recently did one that I called Tuscan Dream, which I sold and was very happy about. And that took a long time. It takes a long time to do something that's fairly realistic. I just wanted to move a little bit of it.
I like that.
Thank you. And then you can push the wax by, doing your gun a different way. You can push it in different directions. People also use torches, and with a torch it's actually easier to do that.
Okay, so this is soy wax. What's it for?
This is for cleaning your brush off. But if you happen to have a brush that you want to clean off, you just go ahead and dip it in the soy, which I have over here in this container here. You dip it in the soy and take a paper towel and you just pull it off. So I just put a black layer on, let it cool down quite a bit. And now I'm going to take a razor blade and scrape off the top layer to show the layer that's underneath. And that's kind of the fun, cool thing about this. So you're taking off some of the wax that you put on to reveal the cool layers underneath. But it still leaves some of the black. It will also leave some of these little lines from the razor blade, but that's okay. Encaustic people like that. It gives it character.
Gives it tons of texture.
Yes. Take the wax off here.
And you put it in your little bowl of wax.
In the bowl of wax.
In the bowl of wax.
And keep going until you have the desired effect that you're looking for.
And then after you scrape, of course, you can add more layers and stuff after that too.
So you add many, many layers. You don't just stop with 2 or 3. Keep adding layers and see what develops. You can also use tools that you use for pottery making. And you could scribe into, make different marks in your wax. So I have a dropper. And I'm going to take some of this white into the dropper. It had some color left in it, but that's okay. And just drop it right onto the painting in different areas. Sometimes before it runs out, it gets too cool, and you have to heat it up with either with your heat gun.
Cool. So there's so many different kinds of techniques and things that you can do.
Absolutely, awesome. So many different possibilities with encaustic.
All right, so this is just like a quick demo, I guess, just showing you how to use the materials. You know, lots more scraping can be done, a whole, you know, I don't even know how many layers you can put on it.
Lots of layers.
As many layers as you want to.
Yeah. Just keep going until you like the end result.
Thank you. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed our video. I know my mom and I had a lot of fun putting this together today. If you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the comments below. And until next time, remember to stay peaceful, as a calm mind is a creative mind. Now go get inspired, be an influence, and make something beautiful today. Peace. What's with the llama?
It's my friend in the studio. No one else is here.
Okay.